There's this term called generational wealth that's going around. And I think a lot of people feel like they want to create that. But I have something that's probably more important to look after right now. It's called generational debt. Stay tuned if you want to find out what that is. So, to me, there are three ways you create generational debt. And it's unfortunate because people don't realize they're actually doing it. And I hope that hoping that giving you these three different things on how you might be creating generational debt will help inspire you to do something about it today. So, the first thing that you might be doing that you don't realize you're doing is passing on, I should probably say, not passing on education, but really passing on education that you learned about debt, finances, and so on. Anything that you learned, you're probably passing on to your children and their children after that. So I would be very aware of what kind of money and debt financial education did you get at home? And realize that you might be demonstrating that to your generation, to the ones that you have raised, your children, their children. So that's one form of generational debt you could be passing down. Not being properly protected is also another form of being in generational debt. And what I mean by that is how you were taught to basically protect your income and your assets. God forbid something happened to you prematurely in life, what would happen to the people you leave behind? Or what would happen to the people that rely on you for income if something were to happen to you and you couldn't earn an income? So, not being properly protected, is it your belief that having proper insurance on your income and your assets is somewhat of a jinx? Because growing up, some of us believe that if I talk about insurance, then I'm bound to pass away soon. And it's interesting because that was passed on to us. That was passed on to us from our parents. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about death. We don't talk about anything like that. But the truth of the matter is it happens. And it's not that it's never going to happen. It's going to happen, but we just don't know when and how. And for some of us, prematurely, it is devastating to our finances when something like this happens. So, not being properly protected is one of those other ways we pass on generational debt. Not to mention the fact that you're passing on a debt burden if you don't properly protect them now. And the last thing we pass on as generational debt is not saving enough for yourself. And here's what I mean. If you're not currently saving enough for yourself, when you get old and you can't work anymore and you have to retire and you get these ailments that some of us old people get, and maybe your health is just seriously deteriorated, someone's going to have to take care of you. And that's not free. That is not free. So, what happens when you haven't saved enough money for yourself to be able to take care of that future self? Because you know it's coming. You're leaving your children that burden of having to look after not just you, but they're taking care of their own, they're taking care of their children. So, right now, what you're doing is you're passing on that burden by not saving for yourself. And to me, that's basically passing on generational debt, right? You're not paying yourself right now, someone else is going to pay for that later on. Listen, this wasn't meant to make you feel bad about what you're doing. This was meant to inspire you to do something now. Because if you really think about it right now, and now that you've watched this video that you can't unsee, you now have the time and the opportunity to do something about that. So comment, share, and subscribe to my channel so that you can not only help yourself, but you can help others really get out of this generational debt that we're passing on to generations to follow. Anyways, I got you all. Have an awesome day.